Hello again, back as promised with a further review of the Sony HXR NX30, a bit more on its steadiness capabilities, quite a bit on its intelligent auto system, which is fantastic, its low light capabilities, which is equally fantastic, and even its use as a still camera, which was quite surprising to me. This is a long, sustained walking shot, not necessarily to aesthetic, but just to show that it's not a fluke to get, 4 or 5 seconds of steady footage with this camera. Now, I want to point out that everything you're about to see here, all of it, was shot in full auto mode. There's a number of different modes, even in auto, that you can select, and this one is tracking exposure and focus on faces. In other words, all I ever did was literally point and shoot this camera. A lateral walking shot, that's not too easy to do, but comes out pretty good, doesn't it? Now, we're about to walk into a tunnel. I don't have time to comment too much on it here, and I will later, but notice what happens when we go into this dark tunnel. You didn't see that thing you typically get with auto exposure where the whole scene suddenly goes bright or dark and is completely unusable. It handled it, shall we say, intelligently. Just some more walking shots, a bit off the cuff, this stuff. But like I said, it was just point and shoot, and I sort of made it up as I went along. All right, now we're on a boat. Now, coming up is a series of shots of the boat passing under bridges. And of course, when you pass under a bridge, the skylight's blocked out. More on that in a second, but I want to point out here I'm shooting into the sun. Look at the exposure on the foreground, water, and everything else. The sky has just been blocked out. The sun is still shining, but has maintained a consistent exposure to the scene. Something that you would expect more with, a manual setting or a film camera. Again, now, as we pass under this next bridge, watch the faces. Okay, skylight is now gone. You see how it maintained an exposure on her face. Now, when it comes out, it's going to have a struggle here with that big white building in the background. But the way it handled it, as far as I'm concerned, is perfectly acceptable. Coming up here, there's a boat passing us, and I literally just whipped the camera over, zoomed in, so I'm on a boat going in one direction, the other boat's going in the other direction, and I just zoomed in and let the camera do its thing. Check this out. All right, here's another sustained walking shot, but notice the environment. We have a bright sunny day, we have all kinds of tree coverage and all kinds of, hot sun, dark shadows. The camera lets the bright sun blow out as kickers, but maintains an overall consistent exposure to the scene. This shot here is just showing off again, full zoom, full telephoto, handheld. Nice and steady, just like it's on a tripod. There's a typical scene in Paris. We're about to be attacked from both sides of the street by restaurant vendors wanting us to come into their shops. And this was the beginning of the gauntlet. I think there probably were at least a dozen more after that. All right, now check out this one. This is the full bright sun head on into the lens, and the camera is not shutting down. It is not closing it down and making a silhouette out of it because it knows that's not part of the equation. Bit of an experiment here, holding the camera down below my knees. All right, now here we are inside Notre Dame, and it was dark in this place, let me tell you. It looks bright by the camera, but it was dark. Speaking of dark, it's now approaching nighttime, dusk there. And so the rest of the shots coming up will take us from dusk into the full black of night. So what you want to be looking for here is noise in the shadows. I can see a bit there, but for example, here, this looks nicely lit, doesn't it? Well, it is outside the restaurant and there is some ambient light, but this entire area was dark, under tree cover. Particularly here, this is the darkest area in the entire courtyard. Now watch what happens here. All right, go in on her face, go back down to there, and the camera even recognized the drawing as faces. This is our cool waiter. Just really showing you how it shoots in the nighttime situation here. This area was also very, very dark. The camera makes it look brighter than it really was. You get the idea by the blackness of the background there. All right, by now it's about, I think it was about 12:30 at night. And we're getting ready to walk home. It's also on auto color balance, by the way. It's working out what to do best with the color. I haven't color corrected any of this. Okay, and that right there is just a comment on the Parisian parking problem. All right, still photographs. We're back in London with a few shots here, but anyway, it's so easy to go into still mode on this camera. You push a button in the back and bang, you're in still mode, and next time you press the shutter, you're taking a still picture. 21 megapixels. Still, it's in full auto, doing all the same stuff it was doing when I was shooting video. Nice, rich color. Really good detail. Little wedding action happening there in the city of love. Look at the detail in the Eiffel Tower. All right, and that's my Parisian wife, Lori, who gave us the grand tour of Paris. Ooh la la!